Hi everyone, it's Kerry back with you today. So today's project has been inspired by me turning 50. I turned 50 back in December and I must be having some kind of midlife crisis or something because I've decided that's it. I'm cleaning my house from top to bottom. I'm decluttering everything and getting rid of stuff I don't need or want or use anymore. And Mum was up here and one of Mum's pet peeves was I had a drawer in my pantry where I had collected all of these little brown paper packages. Now, some of you may recognise them. These are the packages that the cutlery comes in if you go to a takeaway restaurant. You know, they'll put the cutlery in a napkin in here. Anyway, the drawer in my pantry was absolutely chockers to the point where it wouldn't shut, and Mum's like, you just get rid of them. So I went through, I pulled all the packets out, I tore them all open, I pulled out the cutlery to use for cat food, and I was left with all of these little brown paper sleeves, and I liked them. I thought they were really cute and they gave me some ideas. So I went ahead and started decorating them, and I just loved how they came out. It was so relaxing to just sit there and craft. And then once I had decorated them, I just made a little simple tag that goes inside. It's just plain white chipboard. I haven't put any decoration or anything on it at this stage. And I thought they were super cute. But like I said, I had heaps and heaps. Like this was a hoard of these things in my drawer. So I started making them and I was having so much fun. I just absolutely loved it. So I'll just share some of the ones that I made. Phew. So as you can see, I made a few, but I just loved it. But then I ran out of the little paper sleeves and I was a bit sad. So I thought I would see if I could make my own. Now I've come up with a couple and I think they look fairly authentic. I did have a paper crimper and I did try to use that on the bottom, but the crimps were too far apart. So today I'm going to show you how I've created these. So I've just got some brown packaging paper here, and as you can see they're different sizes, so the size doesn't really matter.
That's what she said.
As long as it's wide enough for you to pop your tag in. So I quite like the narrow sort of looking one. And this is roughly 6.5 centimetres across. So if I want something roughly the same size, I need to double it. So 6.5 and 6.5 would be 13. And then I need to add 2 centimetres for the little fold over flappy part here. So if you're working in inches, you can always use Google to translate the centimetres to inches for you. But the size is a little bit irrelevant, like as long as you've got enough to stick a tag in, and if you make the tag after the fact, then you know it'll fit perfectly. Now this is normal copy weight paper, so it's 80 GSM here in Australia. This is a 50 GSM paper and I prefer this paper. It's easier to work with and it more closely mimics this sort of original paper. So I'm going to stick with that one for today. Now, I don't even know what size this one is. It is about 15.5, and the length doesn't really matter because we're going to tear it across the top as long as it's long enough for you to have a pocket. The other thing that you'll need is some double-sided sticky tape. If you don't have any double-sided tape, you can use glue. And I'm also going to be using this tear tool, which is actually just the serrated blade part off a baking paper box. So I've just popped a stiff wooden ruler inside here and then taped it in there so the ruler can't fall out, just so that it makes it a little bit more rigid for me. So this was Reenie's idea. It's a really great idea. So the first thing that I'm going to do is just go to the bottom. I'm going to hold my tear ruler and I just want to make a straight line across the bottom here. So that just gives me a little bit of a sort of a perforated look along the bottom there. If you've got those decorative scissors, you could just cut a strip along the bottom, or if you don't have any of that, just tear it against a normal ruler and it'll give you a bit of a jagged edge. So the next thing I'm going to do is take my double-sided tape and I just want to run it down the edge, and I've left like a tiny gap along the edge, and I'm not going quite to the bottom so that my double-sided tape won't stick out over the edge of my page. I'm then going to take another little piece of double-sided tape that's about a third of the size of the width of my paper. So my paper is about 15 centimetres, so I'm going to take about 5 centimetres. It doesn't have to be exact. I'm just going to pop that roughly in the middle. Again, it doesn't have to be exact. So once I've done that, I'm just going to take the backing paper off this strip of double-sided tape here. Now my double-sided tape's a little bit old, so it's very stuck to its background. And then I'm going to take this edge and bring it over to meet this edge. I'm going to try and get it as even as I can. And I'm just going to press that down, but I'm not pressing down along the paper here. I don't want to put a crease in here. So once I've done that, I'm going to fold this edge that we've just stuck together in, so we've got this sort of teardrop shape here now. I'm going to take this edge and I'm going to fold it over about 1 centimetre, and I want to try and get it straight. But it doesn't have to be perfect. If you examine any of these cutlery pouches, you know, they're to serve a purpose, they're not to look pretty, so very few of them are even in any way, shape or form. So once we've folded that over, I'm going to sort of eyeball that crease that we've just put to be roughly in the middle, and I'm just going to press that down. So that gives us this shape with this flap folded over to one side. Then I'm going to use the end to pick this up, and I can see that double-sided tape that I popped in there earlier, and I'm just going to expose that. So I have the tape here now, and then I'm just going to press that down onto the tape. So that essentially gives us a little pocket. So open at the top here and close down here. But to make it look a little bit more authentic, I want to put some ridges or corrugations along the bottom here. So I'm just bringing in my scoreboard and I'm lining up one of these lines just a couple of millimetres from the bottom of the page, and I'm just going to score along there. And then this is 1/4 of an inch further in, or it might be 1/8 of an inch actually. So I'm scoring there, and then I'm going to move my paper so that the next line that I'm going to score actually runs between the two that I've just scored, so that I'm getting sort of closer lines. So hopefully you can see that there. It just gives the illusion that this was crimped with some kind of machinery. So that's it as far as construction goes. And then I really liked this sort of torn top. So basically all I did was tear across the top to give me that torn look. And that's my little pocket ready to have a tag popped into it. So let's see if this tag fits. There we go. And then to decorate my pockets, I sort of did it in a bit of a mass make session, and I sat down, I used a lot of authentic ephemera scraps on these ones that I had in a scrap box, but you could use any kind of paper you like. So I've actually just got some papers that I've printed here, and I've printed these onto newsprint paper because it automatically has a bit of a vintage feel about it. So I'm just going to flick through here and pick some papers to stick on here. So I might grab some of that one and I'll just have that one as well. These pages are from one of the file keeping sets, so I'll make sure I link that below. So I'm just going to tear this edge off. And then to make my tag, I'm just going to figure out how big I need my tag to be. Just going to mark that. So that's going to fit, but it's a little bit too tall, and I'm just going to eyeball it and cut a bit off the top. About yay much. Yep, happy with that. And then the last thing I did was I just popped a little bit of paper around the top of my tag. So I've just got a piece of scrap paper here, and I won't need that much. So I'm just going to pop a fold in my paper about here. And just popping some glue stick over the end. Now I actually don't like that shape for the back. Just tear a bit more off. So now I'm just going to line up the edge of my tag with the crease that I made. It doesn't matter if the paper isn't straight anywhere else as long as it covers the tag. And then I'm just going to push that down. And then I'll just use my scissors to trim that paper down to the size of the tag. So there we go. If you do happen to have a big stash of these takeaway packets, then this is a great way to use them up. And if you don't have any, they are super quick and easy to make, and I think they came out really cute. So I hope that gave you a little bit of inspiration. I'll leave links in the description box below to the papers that I did use for today's project, but you can use anything at all. Book pages would work great for this project too. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'll see you again next time. Bye!